Hello, my name is John LaPlante, and I'm going to show you Vinson Protect and how you can use it to evaluate your school district against the K12SIX Essential Cybersecurity Protections for the 24-25 school year. So the first thing you'll want to do is head over to vinsonprotect.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, you'll click Sign Up. You can either sign up with Google by just clicking this and answering a couple of questions, or you can create an account, which is what I'm going to do. And I'll click Sign Up. This will take you to your first screen where you'll create your organization. Now you can choose a framework. As I mentioned, I'm going to be using the K12SIX Essential Cybersecurity Protections Framework for the 24-25 school year. I would recommend you either start with that or the cybersecurity rubric and then move into some of the more in-depth frameworks later on, but I'm going to start with K12SIX. And I'll click Add Organization. That will create the organization and take me to my dashboard. The dashboard will show you all of the different features of Vinson Protect. You can click on Help up here to see some help videos on how to use some of the different sections. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to go into my framework. And the application will realize that I've selected K12SIX, but I haven't done a self-assessment. So I'm going to click Yes. And this will then take me through 14 questions that correspond to the 14 controls in the framework. And you just answer the questions according to how your school has prepared. So in the interest of time, I'm going to speed up the rest of this video, and I'll be back when we're done. Okay, now that I'm finished, I can submit my self-assessment. So I'll click Submit, and that will convert it to a framework, can calculate my category scores, and calculate my framework. And so now I can click Let's Go, and now here is my evaluated framework. So you'll notice that a couple of these are red. If you want to know what red means, or yellow, or green, or blue, you can click on this little eye, and it will show you red means at risk, yellow means baseline, green means good, and blue means better. Our goal is to get every school district to at least the baseline level of all 14 of these controls. So you'll see here I've got a couple of red that I need to work on. So what I can do is I can click on each one of these controls, and it'll bring up some more information about that control. So here you'll see this is Protect User Logins. It'll give you a little bit of information. It'll show you how this control aligns to the NIST cybersecurity framework, to the CIS critical security controls, and to CISA's CPGs. So you can see all those here. I can further look at each one of my control statuses. So here I'm at risk. Over here, it'll give me some recommendations based on what I can do to get to the next level. So if I want to get up to baseline in this area, here's a recommendation for me. So let's say I'm going to say, yeah, I want to do that recommendation. I'll put a check box there, and I'll click Add Selected to Tasks. So that will then add that recommendation to my list of tasks. Further, I can say whether or not I have a policy. So I don't have a policy for this, and I haven't started implementing this. So you can also put in comments, and you can add any evidence if you want. If you don't know whether you're at risk, baseline, or good, there is a scoring guide that you can look at. So I'll click on Scoring Guide, and that will bring up the actual scoring guide from K12SIX for this particular control. So you can say here, either I'm at risk or I'm baseline. You can evaluate yourself. Now this is a little more in-depth than the self-assessment, but a lot of the questions are basically the same. Okay? All right. I mentioned that I added this to my tasks. So if I come up to tasks here, you'll see the tasks that you've created. Here's that Implement MFA task. I'm going to say this is critical. It is in progress, and I'm going to say that I want it to be done by the 29th. So that's my task for that particular control. if I come back to my framework, you can continue this process now for every single one of these controls. All right. Once you're finished, once you're completely finished with your evaluation, now you can click a status report. So I'm going to click this status report. And what this is going to show is each one of the 14 controls and how you've evaluated each one of those. So here are all 14 of my controls, how many points I have, what my status is, and then any tasks that I have. This is a good report to create for board meetings or for meetings with your staff, really high-level kinds of meetings, okay? There's a security plan that goes into a lot more depth, and so I'd like to show you that as well. So the security plan, what it will do is it will create a prioritized list of actions that you can take. So the first thing that it will do is it'll print all of your at-risk items. So anything that's at risk will show up first. So if you remember this framework, I've got 2 items that are at risk. So those will show up at the top. And of those 2, it will select the most critical, and that will be your first item, and it'll have a little red background. So what this is meant to do is to give you one thing to work on. So we know that school districts, people are pulled in all kinds of different directions. Getting a 30-page report of things you need to work on is sometimes a little overwhelming. So what this attempts to do is use the K12SIX framework and use the Vinson Protect application to give you a prioritized list of things to work on, one item at a time. So this is my highest priority item. Of all the things that I evaluated myself at, this is the one I need to work on. And here's my detailed action plan for how I'm going to do that. Now, this is that task that I added. If you remember, I went in and I added a task. This is where it shows up. So the first thing I'll work on is this. Once I get this to baseline, then I can move on to the next one. So this security plan will print out, first of all of the at-risk items in priority order, then all of my baseline items, then my goods, and then lastly my betters. Okay, and you can download that and create a PDF for, again, for more detailed discussions. All right. If you have any questions, there's a help screen up here that has a lot of videos. Or if you just can't figure out what to do, you can use this contact link to send us a message. Okay? If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.